you considered the messages your outfits send? What do you think your clothes say about you? See, style is about the clothes, but it's not really about the clothes. Every day you make choices about what you're going to wear, but what are you communicating? Welcome to Above and Beyond Style. I'm your host, Maria DiLorenzo, and in 2019, I founded MFD Style, where I provide a unique, intuitive approach to personal styling for those ready to embrace a more meaningful look. With this podcast, I'll uncover key elements of where spirituality, psychology, and style intersect, revealing how you can make intentional wardrobe choices that reflect who you really are. So let me ask you, are you ready to transform into your authentic self? Then it's time. Come with me on this journey, and together we'll take your style above and beyond style. Hey friends, welcome back to Above and Beyond Style. So fun to be back with you for yet another installation of this season. Season 5 has been so fun so far. I'm really loving the opportunity to talk with you about these perhaps small style changes or steps that you might be able to take to unlock or unleash that bigger, more impactful, authentic style. And of course, I'm loving all the conversation around signs and energy and just the ways that we can be more collaborative with the universe around both our own style and our life decisions and some of these things that seem to be at play, certainly for me and maybe perhaps for you too. I've been really glad to have my conversation partner back with me, Dr. Melissa Carrick. She has been able to join for a few different conversations this season, and it's been great to have her insight and all of the ways that we can kind of play off each other and tell stories. But I'm also going to continue doing some solo episodes like today's, and wanted to offer you additional thoughts and ideas around kind of taking the right next step. First off, I wanted to reinforce and remind you about that book that I referenced very early on in this season, by Emily P. Freeman, The Next Right Thing. And it's been such a cool experience talking with a few of you who have either purchased or went out into your local library and found the book and have been kind of digging into some of the philosophy and story around her book and what it's all about, and helping unleash and unlock some ideas around decision making. And in particular, what I love about her book is that there's this sort of undercurrent around spirituality and faith and formation and how we can be in partnership more with our Creator around making some of these decisions. And perhaps that's helpful to you. It was certainly helpful to me. I also enjoy her podcast. If you haven't listened to her podcast, she does, I think, a really lovely job and has actually an excellent kind of, I don't know, there's something about her voice that feels really calming and very sort of draws you in. So I am a big fan of Emily P. Freeman. In fact, she has a new book out, and I'm forgetting the name of it at this moment, but I know she has just released a new book, and it's about like walking into a room or something. I'll have to look into it. Sorry. But I will certainly link that and share that with you if you are becoming an Emily P. Freeman fan like myself. So this week, I wanted to intentionally, here we are on episode 5 of season 5, and really calling in all this like 5 change energy that is about the number 5, and wanting to sort of do a little check-in with you first and foremost about how are you feeling around this whole concept of taking a very small next step that might unlock something for you. And again, in your style, in your life, in your relationships, could be with your eating patterns or your exercise habits. There are innumerable ways that these small micro steps could really help us grow and develop into something larger and bigger that maybe we're looking to become. And I'm finding myself as I'm playing with taking small steps, not just with my style, but in my life, and feeling like, I don't know, just doing a little like pulse check on how that's going. For me in particular, there's a couple things that come to mind about small steps that I've been trying to take to see if that will take me somewhere new or down a new path. And one is quite literally, I have been renting a new place in the Boston area, and I'm in a new-ish neighborhood for myself, and I love to go for walks. And it's important to me, while the weather cooperates, that I'm able to kind of get out and spend, 45 minutes to an hour a day going for a walk and just being kind of in nature and around. And sometimes, depending on the neighborhood or wherever I've been living, I've just been really lucky that I've had these like lovely places for me to be walking streets or paths or around various places that have felt very nurturing and very just grounding and settling for me. So when I moved into this new spot, it was important that I kind of found something like that. So quite beautifully, I just sort of walked this neighborhood and found myself closer to like a reservation and a little bit more of some hiking trails that led in all sorts of different directions. And it has been really nice for me to take that small step, if you will, of just going and finding this new path and being in nature in a new and different way that I hadn't been before. Just always reminds me the power of like trying something small that's new. And I don't always love that feeling of like going into something new that I haven't done before, but I do find there to be such great return or reward when I've been able to do that. Obviously on the larger scale, when I went to Europe for roughly 6 weeks and had this whole adventure unfold of places and experiences I had never done before. And as I've shared, I did the majority of that alone. So it was kind of this whole new path. So it was fun to sort of take a new physical, like literal path to walk in and explore and just be in nature. And that has continued to remind me the importance of how sometimes we get kind of locked into our rhythms and our routines, and it's nice for us to sort of shake it up every so often. I think our nervous systems and our bodies will respond well to that when we've done it intentionally and, of course, in a safe place or a safe way that allows us to kind of enter into those new experiences. And I think the other thing that's been fun as I've been working and kind of experimenting with like new patterns or new habits or new experiences. I haven't been to a new gym in years. I think at least 5, if not longer years. And I don't have anything against gyms. It's just I have been really fortunate in that I like to be outside when I exercise. So that hasn't really necessitated that I needed to be in a gym. Well, many of you might be able to relate to this or resonate with the concept of I'm now in my mid-40s and feeling this like importance of, strengthening my bones and my muscles and my joints and all these things. And I don't do a ton of individual strength training on the regular. And so was feeling this like pull toward doing something a bit more consistently. So I joined a gym, local gym, just to kind of give myself an opportunity to do maybe a small circuit around like upper body or just to allow me to grow in my strength training. And so these are like little examples of where taking small steps might just allow for some different things to open up or changes to be made. Obviously, these two things have to do with like my physical wellness, and I'm not overly emphasizing that at this moment, but it felt like the right moment in time to kind of give some attention and develop that a bit more for myself. So it just continues to remind me about the importance of these small steps and taking small steps toward unlocking something for ourselves and giving ourselves the opportunities to try them out. So today's topic that I wanted to kind of dig in a little bit around might be an interesting one, again, at this like season 5, episode 5 juncture where I'm talking about style and certainly wanting to help you get closer to your own understanding and interpretation of authentic style. But it has to do with taking a pause and perhaps even stop shopping. And this is something that I've experienced and sort of played with these like no buy months, or giving myself different kind of, I don't know, guidelines or regulations around my shopping to kind of experiment and toy with how that might impact not just my budget or my finances, but also some decisions that I make around style. And I felt like this was an important place to kind of reintroduce that concept, because I often feel this urge toward a couple things. First, that there's just, I happen to be in a very advantageous state where I have a lot of things. End of story. I have a lot of things. And not just in quantity, but the value of the things and the number of things that I have in my closet have really grown over the years. And some have been acquired for any number of reasons. But I just sort of felt this like fullness when it came to my wardrobe. And I have been recently toying with and playing with like reinvesting some of my resources in other areas of my life outside of new clothes or shoes or accessories and things like that. And it's given me reason to pause, because not only am I taking this pause with my style, but it's giving me pause to sort of look at my closet and the things that I currently own with a different set of eyes, you know, that new lens of paying attention to sort of what I have and allowing it to guide me in a new and a different way. So let me say a little bit more about this. So I believe many of us are in that advantageous place where we have more than what we need. And oftentimes this consumer culture is a little bit challenging to come up against, because there is always the push and pull of buy more, get more, do more, own more, you know, and that will quote unquote solve the problem. And I'm not really here to kind of debate the merits of that. And I will spend other time and other episodes and, you know, really about the implications around consumerism and sort of what that means for each of us individually. But like holistically, just sort of looking at this concept of like, we all have so much. And particularly those of us like myself living in a first world country, I live in a very privileged environment and society. I have been educated. I have jobs. I have a shelter. I have food. I don't have any of my basic needs are not unmet. So I am like light years ahead of like the majority of the world, right? So the mere fact that I am in this place of advantage or privilege, and recognizing that like I have all these things, and in particular looking at my clothes or my wardrobe or my shoes and accessories, it often helps me to sort of take a moment and stop any type of major consumerism. I'm not talking about cold turkey here, and I'm not here to point blame or to shame anybody around their shopping habits. The real hope that that I'd like you to gain from this is to be able to see the value of taking a pause and stopping any sort of behaviors that might allow you to consume more, so that you can look more objectively at what you do have and perhaps use then what you do have. And it's been very fun for me to, in this like weird in-between transitional state that my life is, where I'm living with a certain like amount of clothing, because the majority of my things, as I've often shared with you before, are in storage. So they're living in storage. All of the things that I've owned in my home, all my furniture, all of the decor, everything that I basically own is living in storage, including a good portion of my clothing. And I will go to storage to cycle in and cycle out pieces of clothes. So what I'm living with on the day-to-day is a much more scaled back version of what I might have at my fingertips normally. And it's been an interesting exercise in recognizing how I might not be needing as much as I have access to, because there's like a ton of clothes that are sitting in storage. Again, certainly seasonally, there's clothes that I'm not wearing because it's still, at the moment now, it's still spring and but still kind of wintry. So I'm using kind of two separate, elements of my wardrobe right now because the weather is all over the place. So no, I'm not going to use everything at all times, but it's given me this really lovely experience of living with less and learning to get dressed more intentionally with what I have. And when I've been able to sort of take that pause, stop the shopping, and use the things that I am living with, it's been a nice exercise of reacquainting myself with my style in some ways, and also challenging me to look at my style a bit differently and to give myself the opportunity to play with new or different combinations, or to see my clothes with a different, lens or a different set of eyes, because I haven't necessarily maybe worn them, the combinations in that exact way. It's just been interesting to notice. And I'm telling you this very candidly and openly because it's been kind of a realization for me about, I'm a big proponent. If you've listened to me for any period of time, I love the concept of like shop your closet first and look at what you own before you ever go out and buy something new. But there is something quite lovely that has unfolded in this, what I would deem a relatively small step of like just taking a beat, looking at what I have, and being able to sort of operate in my day-to-day living with fewer things, just by nature of kind of how I'm living, and it's sort of a necessary part of how my lifestyle is working right now. But it's been helpful because it's allowing me to see the use and the function of some pieces in my wardrobe more clearly. I'm able to see like, gosh, I really do favor this color palette or these fabrics or the way that I feel on the day-to-day. I am much more comfortable in these types of clothes, or I'd like to reach for things that coordinate in this way. And I'm taking more notice of those things, not from a judgmental perspective, but from a inventory almost, like taking it in, taking a few notes. And these are all just sort of mental notes that I'm making, and maybe it's helpful for you to jot down some things that you might notice if you take this step. But ultimately what it's giving me is this ability to sort of look at my closet and my wardrobe and my style with a bit more intention and a bit more purpose. And it's allowing me to kind of reinvest my energy in not just selecting my outfits, which I've gotten quite good at that over the years, that I can do it efficiently and quickly now because I've curated a closet that really works for me. But it's giving me time to sort of redirect my time and my energy toward other things that also are part of what I want to be spending my time doing. So I offer this step, quote unquote, for you, as I wonder what it would feel like or be like if you did take a second, take a pause, stop the shopping, stop any kind of bringing more in for, I don't know what a period of time for you could feel good about, whether maybe it's just a week, maybe it's 2 weeks. I know people that do it on a monthly basis or have taken sort of a pause for 6 months. There's no right or wrong way of taking whatever this next step is. It doesn't need to be this enormous, like I said, cold turkey. I'm not possibly buying anything ever again for like this hard line. You know me. I don't love the hard fast rule that feels restrictive or that it feels like you're keeping something from yourself. That's not what this exercise is about. It's about allowing yourself just a moment of reflection and giving yourself the opportunity and space to notice some things about your style. And maybe that continues to give you more information about how you should go forward, or what is then the right next step about, gosh, okay, I'm noticing, I'll just give you one little example of what I picked up on. This was a very kind of unconscious outcome, if you will. When I looked, I was moving into my new place and I was hanging up my clothes in the closet. And because of, kind of the limitations around some of the storage and spacing, a lot of it is like located in the closet. So I was hanging like my jeans and some pants and some shirts and a couple sweaters. And as I looked at this like collection of clothing, again, a much more downsized quantity that I'm normally used to like working with or having, I noticed a color palette emerged. And it wasn't surprising to me because, to be honest, like I know the colors that I, gravitate toward and I really love. But it was very funny to sort of see this like obvious preference toward like whites and creams and various shades of denim blue and a few like black and gray washed things mixed in there. But like the majority of the clothing kind of fit within that palette. There wasn't anything kind of outside of the periphery of those colors. And it wasn't an intentional thing. I just happened to grab, things from storage. I was like, oh, I really love these tops, these jackets, these third pieces that I like to layer with. Oh, this sweater is a go-to. These jeans fit great. They feel good on. And by the time I kind of put them in this collection in my closet, it's like, gosh, that looks really cohesive. It almost looks like you could walk into a store and sort of see them all lined up on the rack like they were supposed to go together. And it just was a funny little outcome because it helped me notice, like, well, one, I have obvious preferences, but two, that I felt like, oh yeah, I really have curated like my preference and style and what feels good for me. And do I need more of that at this moment? I really don't. It's always lovely to have new things kind of introduced in the wardrobe, and I'm never opposed to that. But it did feel like a really lovely, quote unquote, next step of recognizing there was very little else I needed, and to go out and consume or purchase more just didn't feel like the right next step. It felt like, ooh, let me work with what I've got here and start to play with my style in this very intentional way. So I'm sharing this with you because it was something that I did and found helpful to me because, again, I'm living in this like weird transitional place in my life where I don't have all my clothes at my fingertips, but I'm playing with my style as a way to unlock other things in my life, right? Because style is one of those modes or medium that I enjoy playing with and experimenting, and it's given me an opportunity to see other things about myself because I know that my clothing is a tool for ways to interpret and communicate things about who I am. So if it's helpful to you as you are thinking about your own style and really trying to kind of play with this whole concept around what is the right next step that you might be able to take in your style evolution? What is a small idea that might allow you to open up to something bigger for bigger impact, or to try something small and new that you haven't before, to experiment with this like change energy of the number 5? Maybe it's as simple as not taking the step of buying something new and just sort of taking a moment, looking at what you have, evaluating it and playing with it differently. Maybe coming to a level of appreciation for what you have and feeling the fullness and the abundance of that in a way that's like, I don't really need more. I have more than enough here, and it is satisfying and giving me more than enough opportunities and exciting ways to wear these clothes. And it's giving you then perhaps more purpose and intention and what you'd like to put on your body. So if this works for you, I'd love to hear your feedback. If you are experimenting with some of these small steps that we've been able to talk to you about over the course of the season so far, please drop me a message or a note. Always love to hear from my listeners, and really grateful that you guys are tuning in to season 5 and hope you're enjoying it so far. So friends, until next time, I look forward to connecting with you soon. Hey there. I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you more about MFD Style, my wardrobe consulting business. I've been styling professionally for nearly 15 years, and it truly is my life's passion and purpose. In fact, my mission is to help you develop a confident and authentic signature style, breathe life into your existing wardrobe, and help you fill in with perfect, versatile pieces that are in line with your style and budget. And yes, all of this can be done both in person or virtually. This experience can transform your life. I have seen it happen countless times. And all you have to do is take that first step. Set up a free 30-minute consultation call with me, and we can start this journey together. You deserve to have a wardrobe that mirrors who you are, and I am so ready to help make that happen. You can find me on the web at mfdstyle.com. Thanks so much for listening today. If you enjoyed what you've heard, I would appreciate you taking the time to leave a review on the podcasting platform you're using, and share this episode with others who you think might really enjoy these conversations about personal style. For more information all about MFD Style services, you can find me on the web at mfdstyle.com, on Instagram at mfd_style, where I post almost 5 days a week, or send me an email at maria@mfdstyle.com. I also have a weekly email I send to subscribers, so I will include the link to that sign up in the show notes. So until next time, friends, remember to love yourself and then love yourself some more.